31 goals, 62 points, and a final day brace. Kylian Mbappé is officially the 2024-25 European Golden Shoe winner. From a quiet start at the Bernabeu to a blistering finish with 9 goals in the final 5 matches, the French striker silenced all doubts and proved himself the most lethal finisher in Europe this season. But this is more than just an individual accolade. It's a warning shot to the rest of Europe. A new era at Real Madrid has begun, and Kylian Mbappé is leading the charge. While Los Blancos endured a trophy-less campaign across all competitions, what seemed like a mere consolation prize has turned into the season's saving grace, the European Golden Shoe. With no realistic team objectives left in La Liga, Mbappé turned the individual race into his personal stage, and he did not disappoint. Heading into the final round, the Golden Shoe standings were on a knife edge. Viktor Gyökeres had wrapped up his campaign with 39 goals for Sporting Lisbon. But with the Portuguese league's lower UEFA coefficient of 1.5, he sat at 58.5 points. Mbappé, with 29 La Liga goals and a coefficient of 2.0, was right behind him with 58 points. One more goal would take him above the Swedish striker. The moment came, right on cue. On May 24th, under the lights at Santiago Bernabeu, Mbappé faced Real Sociedad under immense pressure and immense expectations. In the 38th minute after his initial penalty was saved by Ramiro, he pounced on the rebound and slotted home. That goal not only gave Madrid the lead, it was the turning point of the Golden Shoe race. After halftime, Mbappé added a second to complete his brace and seal a 2-0 win, and with it, the top spot in Europe. 31 goals, 62 points. Mohamed Salah was still in the running. The Egyptian entered the final Premier League matchday with 28 goals, 56 points. But instead of a late flourish, he managed just 1 goal against Crystal Palace. Salah finished with 29 goals, matching Mbappé's total but trailing in points. He placed 3rd overall. Harry Kane, 26 goals for Bayern Munich, and Robert Lewandowski, 27 for Barcelona, were ultimately out of contention, though the Polish forward did his part with a final day brace. Numbers don't lie. In the final 5 La Liga matches, Mbappé scored 9 goals, averaging 1.8 per game. That's remarkable, especially considering Madrid had already dropped out of the title race. And this wasn't just a lucky run. 7 of Mbappé's goals this season came from the penalty spot, sparking debate about refereeing favoritism. But the fact remains, he made the most of every opportunity. In a league as demanding as La Liga, consistency is everything, and when it mattered most, Mbappé delivered at his very best. Yes, this year's Golden Shoe race had its controversies, from UEFA's coefficient system to refereeing decisions. But one thing is beyond dispute. Mbappé won with composure, power, and a ruthless end-of-season surge. In a season where Real Madrid fell short as a team, their number 9 closed the year with a personal masterpiece. If the Golden Shoe was the sprint, then the entire 2024-25 campaign was a canvas, one that revealed not just a goal scorer, but a history maker. It's never easy joining Real Madrid. The pressure is immense, the spotlight relentless. Yet, Mbappé handled it like someone born for the big stage. From day one at Valdebebas, he made it clear he was here to make history. After years of near misses and transfer drama, he finally arrived, on a free deal, carrying the weight of expectation from fans and club alike. But no one could predict how quickly he would adapt from Ligue 1 to the cutthroat environment of La Liga. His start wasn't perfect. He missed a penalty at San Mamés and later admitted, "I felt like I hit rock bottom." But that low point became the spark for a season-long surge, one that ended with 31 league goals, 42 across all competitions, and a Golden Shoe as the crowning moment. As La Liga came to a close, Kylian Mbappé had one final number to etch into the record books: 31 goals in 34 games. He clinched the Pichichi trophy as the league's top scorer, a feat no Real Madrid player has achieved in their debut season since Ruud van Nistelrooy in 2007. In fact, Across the entire history of La Liga, only 3 players had ever scored 30 or more goals in their first season with a new club: Pruden, Romario, and Ronaldo Nazario. Now, Mbappé becomes the 4th, but the numbers don't stop there. When you count every competition, Champions League, UEFA Super Cup, Club World Cup, Copa del Rey, Mbappé ended his first season at Real Madrid with 42 goals in 55 matches. That's more than Cristiano Ronaldo scored in his debut year with Los Blancos, more than Zamorano ever managed in his first season in white. This wasn't just a great start, it was a historic one. And these goals weren't just routine tallies, they were moments. A hat-trick against Barcelona at the Camp Nou, each goal scored in a different style. Another hat-trick against Manchester City in the second leg of the Champions League playoffs. And of course, the dramatic brace against Real Sociedad in the final league match that sealed the European Golden Shoe. Mbappé didn't just win the Pichichi or the Golden Shoe, he also took home the Gerd Müller Trophy, awarded to the world's top scorer across club and international matches. So even if Real Madrid fell short of a treble, their number 9 stood tallest among all. Playing alongside Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, Mbappé quickly became the focal point of Real Madrid's attack. Not just scoring, but orchestrating transitions, stretching defenses, dictating tempo. When Jude Bellingham or Federico Valverde were missing in midfield, it was often Mbappé who dropped deeper, carried the ball forward, and created something out of nothing. At the start, many doubted whether he could replicate his League One numbers on the grander, grittier stage of La Liga. But Mbappé responded the only way he knows how, with goals, with records, and with a presence that no one could ignore. And somehow it feels like the best is still to come. The European Golden Shoe is the pinnacle of personal glory for any striker. For Mbappé, this is his first time lifting it, despite being one of the most consistent goal scorers in world football for years. But look beyond the silverware, and you'll find something deeper. The bittersweet contrast between personal triumph and collective frustration. Real Madrid's 2024-25 campaign lacked harmony. They came second to Barcelona in La Liga, missed out on the Copa del Rey and the Spanish Super Cup, and were knocked out of the Champions League by Arsenal in the quarterfinals. In the end, they lifted only 2 trophies, the UEFA Super Cup and the FIFA Club World Cup, both thanks to last season's successes. And in that grey landscape, the only light came from Mbappé. He scored in every competition, at every stage, as if trying to prove that football may be a team sport, but one man can still light up the game. Even his path to the Golden Shoe wasn't without controversy. In matchday 33, a reckless tackle on Antonio Blanco sparked outrage. Many feared he'd be suspended for 4 matches, potentially ending his run. In the end, he was handed a 1-match ban, just enough to return and score 9 goals in the final 5 games, overtaking Viktor Gyökeres in the last stretch. Gyökeres, it must be said, had a phenomenal season, 39 goals and a league title with Sporting CP. But because the Portuguese league has a lower UEFA coefficient, each of his goals counted for 1.5, giving him a final tally of 58.5, 3.5 behind Mbappé, despite scoring more goals. Some called the system unfair, a disservice to strikers in smaller leagues. But the rules are clear, and Mbappé played them to perfection. Still, even with criticism swirling, Mbappé had every right to walk off the pitch with his head high. He became the first Frenchman since Thierry Henry 2 decades ago to win the Golden Shoe, the first Real Madrid player since Cristiano Ronaldo a decade ago to do it, and the only player in football history to win the Golden Boot at the World Cup, Champions League, European domestic leagues, and now La Liga's Pichichi. With 42 goals in all competitions and 31 in La Liga, Kylian Mbappé is laying the foundation for a new era at the Santiago Bernabeu. And the scariest part? He's not satisfied. The Champions League still eludes him. The Ballon d'Or is still out of reach. Real Madrid are still searching for their winning formula. This Golden Shoe is just the beginning. The road ahead is long. And for Kylian Mbappé, the real conquest has only just begun.